We have a shocking Rockets trade incoming after a new report reveals a wild update on the 2025 offseason outlook for Rafael Stone and the Houston Rockets after this first series against the Golden State Warriors has gone nowhere near according to plan. Welcome into Rockets Digest. I'm Jace Andrews, and I appreciate you joining us for the latest news, rumors, updates, everything surrounding your H-Town team. Hit the subscribe button down below. We're on our way to 100 subscribers. We're trying to do it before the postseason ends. The Rockets aren't helping us out, but hey, we need your help so that we get it before the series even's in, and we don't have to worry about it. Let's talk about it. Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's been such a big story throughout the NBA over this postseason, and now the Milwaukee Bucks are down 3-1. Damian Lillard is gone for this series, probably for the postseason, maybe even for a little bit of next year, if the reports of a torn Achilles are true. And Giannis, after, being what he is and leading the Bucks all the way to the finals and all that stuff, now, what happens to him? It seems like he's going to be traded. So, the Rockets have now shifted their mindset to him after talking KD, after talking Devin Booker. Now reports say that Giannis is in the picture for this Houston Rockets team. But does it make sense? Well, let's first start with the beginning of this report as we go into it here. This all coming from the Space City Scoop saying the Rockets should keep this young group together, shouldn't they? Now, that's kind of the first question we all ask ourselves. Is this young group going to make it to the next level? Well, 52-win season, you don't blow it up. You think they would let them grow this group. That's kind of the first overarching theme of this paragraph and this entire start. However, the last statement there is what I want to focus on. What if a star who helps them maintain their identity could shake loose this summer? That's where Giannis comes into the picture. Because we talk about how the Rockets need an offensive weapon. Because Jalen Green, although he had that great game in Game 2, Game 1 wasn't the best. Game 3 was not the best. Even without Jimmy Butler, you lost and allowed 100 points to a Warriors team that you held below 96 for the first two games when they had Butler on the court, at least for some period of time in both games. That doesn't seem like a great thing. Giannis fits the build of this Rockets team in so many different aspects. And when you look at his stat line, it is otherworldly what he is doing. It's crazy. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 30-plus points per game, almost 12 rebounds a game. He's averaging 6.5 assists per game. He's averaging a double-double and, going triple-double, I would say most nights with that assist getting up there, especially with the way he's been playing. And so this report kind of indicates that is a for-real idea for this Houston Rockets team. And so we continue. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks, again, have not been eliminated. Their season is still alive, but they are down 3-1 to a strong Pacers team who, by the way, were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Damian Lillard seems to have suffered a torn Achilles. It's not looking good for the Bucks. And that's where he says, for argument's sake, let's assume the Bucks season is over. They'll have been eliminated in the first round for the third consecutive season, and obviously, that feels like a good reason to trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. It seems like the Bucks may blow it up this offseason. That's where the Rockets come in. Not only do they have valuable assets, they have picks, they have young players, and they have people on the bench who are top 10 picks, Reed Shepherd, most notably, that you could easily trade away and not blink at all. That's why the Rockets become, in this case scenario, a team to watch out for. And now we continue with on. It's also troubling the Rockets couldn't keep an optimal group around Antetokounmpo. Now, the big thing with this is it doesn't fix the shooting. That's his fatal flaw. That holds for both Alperen Şengün, Amen Thompson, and Jalen Green. Now, adding one of the worst shooting stars in the league to one of the worst shooting teams, it's kind of an interesting strategy. However, I go to the playoffs here and look at the offensive leaders. It's Giannis at 33.8 points per game. How about the defensive leaders and rebounds? It's Giannis Antetokounmpo at 14.3. Even on a team where he is having to carry, he is the leading offensive star. Yes, Damian Lillard is great. However, not scoring at the same clip that Giannis is. In fact, he's not even on this top 5. They've got Tatum, Doncic, Banchero, and Brunson. I don't see Damian Lillard. Now, again, the injury is there. We get it. But still, I think some fate being put into how bad of a shooter Giannis is is a little hard to wrap my head around in some aspects. Now, that's not to say I think Giannis is the right move, and that's where I bring you in. Let me know in the comment section right now before we continue, do you think Giannis is a good idea to trade for? If he is available, should the Rockets make a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Yes or no? Leave it in the comment section. Now, let's go back into this report. Obviously, the shooting is a big problem for the Rockets, and that's kind of been an overarching theme of this series. However, it's not to say they shouldn't add Antetokounmpo. And that's where we go in here. Quote, that's not to say the Rockets shouldn't avoid Antetokounmpo. Pairing him with Şengün and surrounding the duo with spacing could make the Rockets a bona fide title contender. Pairing him with Thompson could have the same effect. The Rockets might have the best defense in league history, end quote. And that is where my take comes in. The defense for the Rockets, say you get Giannis Antetokounmpo, will become the best defense on planet Earth and definitely the best defense in the NBA in 20 plus years. By far. Especially if you keep Şengün or Thompson or both. That just becomes an otherworldly defense. And teams who are trying to get inside on you, not going to happen. I'd be surprised if they had Giannis next year if they allowed more than 95 points per game. And right now in the NBA, you're averaging, 110 as an average team. If teams are averaging more than 95 against the Rockets next year with Giannis, I would be surprised. Now, does this make this the right move? I don't think so. I don't think that's the right move. As much as I think Giannis is a great player, I think he is actually probably still one of the best players in the NBA behind maybe Jokic, Tatum, even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Those are probably the top four right now in the NBA, especially in the playoffs right now. Do I think he's the fix? Do I think that this series is fixed by Giannis Antetokounmpo? No, not at all. And that's where I go into the stat line from this most previous game against the Golden State Warriors. You had 4 guys in your starting 5 shoot double digits. That's great. However, nobody scored above 20. You also had Jalen Green. And it's like a different player every game with this guy all of a sudden. He was night in, night out doing 20-plus points. And now in the playoffs against what I would consider a subpar defense in the Golden State Warriors, it's like he is a night-to-night basis on which player and what Jalen Green we're going to get. Game 1, he was terrible. Didn't shoot anything. Everything he shot was horrible. Game 2, he could literally shoot with his eyes closed and make it. And then Game 3, we're back to Game 1. Minus 14 when he was on the court. 9 points. 1 for 5 from beyond the arc. 4 for 11 on the field. Fred VanVleet had 17 points. That's great. However, this team as a whole just didn't shoot well. 13 points from Brooks. 11 points from Alperen Thompson. Everybody did what they were asked for the most part. Because, you expect Alman to be more of a defensive presence than anything. And, minus 9 when he's on the court isn't a great thing to see given his defensive presence and scoring 11 points. But I still think the point stands that Jalen Green was the big reason this team couldn't get anything going. So when you're looking at this Rockets offseason, and hopefully it doesn't come. Obviously, we'll have the game tonight. And with all things considered, we'll have a post-game on it. We'll do something. It's going to be a series-changing victory. Very series changing. Now, what does that mean for going forward? If they can win the night, then maybe some things are put to doubt. Maybe the Rockets win this series and the offseason is kind of back to a normal position of we're looking at KD, we're looking at Booker, or maybe even sticking with our own team. If you lose this game tonight and you go down 3-1, when you are the 2 seed playing the 7 seed, I know it's Golden State. I know they have been in our nightmares since I was alive, basically. But it needs to happen. You could make this go to Game 7, and that could be more positive. But in my mind, tonight is a must-win scenario for the Houston Rockets. You're on the road, yes, I understand, but you've already lost home court advantage. And if the Warriors keep it, you lose tonight, that's 3 games in a row you have to win. Against a team that will probably have Jimmy Butler back at some point. I'm not saying it's tonight, but at some point he will be back. Tonight has to be a victory. And if not, then everything is on the table. Giannis is on the table. Kevin Durant is on the table. Devin Booker is on the table. Any trade, free agent becomes on the table because the Rockets have the assets. The Rockets are saying they are a win-now team, and Ime Udoka wants to get this team to a title contending level as soon as possible. And if that means that they can't do it this year and they need to trade somebody, they'll do it. I have no doubt in my mind they would do it. It's just a matter of whether or not that's a thing that's going to happen sooner or later. I hope it's later and they figure it out. Jalen Green plays well. He goes out of this one game good, one game bad strand, and then now plays to his ability. I know he can, but tonight is so huge. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Again, Giannis being on the table is definitely a big reality for the Houston Rockets, but for now, we wait and see how this game goes tonight. I appreciate you watching here on Rockets Digest, and we will see you next time.